Breaking news! Things are heating up behind the scenes for the Steelers, and we have a few important points to cover with you today. The buzz surrounding the Steelers' OTA practices is intensifying, and what happened in the last few hours has generated a lot of opinions among fans. One name has been mentioned a lot behind the scenes, and it looks like we're in for a surprise in the coming days. I'll tell you everything I've learned so far, but first make sure you've hit the like button if you've been a Steelers fan for over 25 years. It's great to see fans from across the generations here. If possible, write something like this: "Go Steelers! My heart bleeds black and gold." Now, let's get to the point. One of the most notable moments so far in the OTAs isn't about who's absent. It's about who's showing up. Minkah Fitzpatrick, a seasoned veteran and one of the highest-paid players on the roster, has been there every step of the way. In an all-volunteer scenario, Fitzpatrick's presence isn't just symbolic, it's strategic. Despite being the kind of player who could easily justify sitting out these practices, he made a blunt statement. "We're working. This isn't just about conditioning or practices. This is about setting the tone after a season marked by defensive miscommunication and a late-season collapse." The Steelers' defense, once feared, faltered when it mattered most last year. From communication breakdowns to blown coverages, the signs of a fractured unit were everywhere. Players were visibly frustrated, gesturing on the field, seemingly confused or outright disjointed. Fitzpatrick's offseason, while physically restful, was mentally intense. He reviewed 25 to 30 game cut-ups to dissect what went wrong, and what he found was telling. According to him, players were often looking at the same offensive formations and seeing completely different things. That kind of inconsistency is devastating in a league where milliseconds and inches decide games. Enter Patrick Queen, another crucial figure who's been leading by example during OTAs. Queen, who along with Deshaun Elliott joined the team from different systems, is becoming a key voice in refining the defensive scheme. In his own words, the team is addressing schematic breakdowns that were exposed most painfully in that Ravens playoff game. The Steelers were not just beaten physically, they were outmaneuvered and out of place consistently. Gaping holes allowed Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry to make easy work of a defense that once prided itself on discipline and toughness. Queen's adjustment from being a Raven to becoming a central cog in Pittsburgh's defense isn't just a matter of changing jerseys. It's about absorbing the Steelers' way of football, something that he and Elliott are still refining, and Fitzpatrick's leadership is clearly aimed at fostering that understanding before the real action begins. There's also a storyline brewing around the inside linebacker room. Cole Holcomb, who played impressively before his injury, is back and speaking openly for the first time in months. He claims he could have returned last season if needed, but admits it wouldn't have been wise. Now, with Patrick Queen cemented as the leader, Holcomb is entering a crowded and competitive room. Add in Peyton Wilson and Malik Harrison, and suddenly the battle for roles is one of the most intriguing heading into training camp. Holcomb's spot isn't guaranteed. The inside linebacker unit will likely be one of the hardest fought in Latrobe. Offensively, Jaylen Warren is stepping up as the voice and tone setter among running backs. With Najee Harris no longer in the picture, Warren's embracing the RB1 status, but with an eye toward balance. He praised rookie Caleb Johnson's physical gifts and mental commitment, signaling that Johnson might step into the complementary role previously held by Harris. Kenny Gainwell is also in the mix as a third down specialist, with his experience and route running turning heads.
The talk around town is that Arthur Smith's offense wants to utilize a full stable of running backs. Don't be surprised if Cordarrelle Patterson still finds a place in that rotation when he eventually reports. And then, of course, there's the matter of TJ Watt, still absent from OTAs. Fans and analysts alike are wondering when, or if, we'll see him before mandatory minicamp. His absence, unlike Fitzpatrick's presence, speaks volumes in a different way. It's unclear whether it's strategic, personal, or simply routine for a veteran of his stature. But when a leader like Fitzpatrick makes the effort to show up, the contrast becomes impossible to ignore. With veterans like Fitzpatrick and Queen setting the standard, and younger players like Wilson, Johnson, and Gainwell rising, the Steelers' culture is being actively shaped in these practices. But the real question is, what does this mean for the season ahead? Are we seeing the rebirth of a more disciplined, self-aware Steelers defense? Or is this just another off-season mirage? Let me know what you think, Steelers Nation. Do you believe Fitzpatrick's leadership can truly turn the tide on last season's defensive woes? Or are the cracks we saw late last year too deep to simply patch over with off-season motivation and film study? Let's not forget how much Fitzpatrick's role has evolved. For a player with just one interception over the past 2 seasons, the conversation has quietly shifted from playmaker to anchor. That doesn't mean he's lost a step. It means offensive coordinators are flat out avoiding him. He's earned that respect. But even with the Pro Bowl nod last season, Fitzpatrick is clearly unsatisfied with both his own production and the unit's overall performance. And he's not alone. Patrick Queen, newly signed and already operating like a seasoned locker room presence, made it clear that the work being done right now, these seemingly minor tweaks and voluntary drills, are critical. He said that during the playoff collapse, the team didn't just get beaten up front, they were in the wrong places, missing assignments, and lacked cohesion. Queen's focus in OTAs has been about restoring the fundamentals, positioning, alignment, communication. It sounds basic, but it's what separates playoff contenders from first-round exits. Then there's the underlying chemistry challenge. Queen, Elliott, and other newcomers are not just learning the playbook, they're learning the Steelers' identity. Fitzpatrick hinted at it when he described moments last year when defenders were seeing the same picture but interpreting it differently. That isn't just a misread, it's a red flag about defensive unity. The good news is, players aren't hiding from it. They're addressing it head-on, with candid assessments and extra reps. The linebacker depth situation further underscores that change is coming. Peyton Wilson, the athletic rookie, is already drawing eyes during drills. Malik Harrison adds more versatility, and Holcomb, while veteran and valued, may now have to battle harder than expected for playing time. The Steelers haven't had this kind of depth at inside linebacker in years. It's a good problem, but one that could lead to difficult decisions by training camp. Who becomes the two primary three-down linebackers? And who rotates in for specialty packages? On offense, we're witnessing a philosophical shift. Jaylen Warren has made it clear he values the dual-back system. He thrived under that structure alongside Najee Harris and now looks to replicate that balance with Caleb Johnson. Warren's praise for Johnson wasn't just generic teammate speak. He emphasized Johnson's physical readiness and quick mental adjustment. That's a green light for fans to start penciling Johnson into the depth chart. Meanwhile, Kenny Gainwell's addition gives the offense a different flavor. With his background as a quarterback and a wide receiver-like skill set, Gainwell could become Arthur Smith's most dynamic puzzle piece. In today's NFL, third-down backs who can run crisp routes and block effectively are indispensable, especially in Smith's multi-back system. That leads us to a curious omission, Cordarrelle Patterson. Still absent from OTAs, Patterson's role is in question. Whether it's veteran rest, personal reasons, or something else, his silence leaves the door open for someone like Gainwell to grab a larger slice of the offensive pie. And circling back to the defense, let's not overlook the psychological aspect. Last season ended not with a bang, but a whimper. Fitzpatrick's final public comments before offseason were brief and tired. "I've got nothing to communicate to the outside world." That says everything. A player who normally leads vocally and physically was spent, frustrated, and emotionally drained. So, here's the big question to wrap up part 1. Are the Steelers doing enough in OTAs to truly reset the culture and fix the issues that plagued them in 2024? Let me know in the comments, and stay tuned because in part 2, we're going to break down how these early practice trends might translate once the pads come on at training camp. We'll also look at some potential surprise standouts who could shake up the roster battles before week 1. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and check out the next video right here on the screen. Go Steelers!